What's that
What the
fucking
fuck was
face?
that?
Anyways, hi, welcome back to the Final Bros. Finally. It's been a while. I'm Lane Coffin.
And I'm Dwarf Wise.
And we're starting a new series here called the No Context Critics, where we watch the very first episode of a TV series, the pilot, and then we watch the finale, and we don't know anything about the rest of the show, and we just try to judge it based on that.
Yeah. And I love this because it's a terrible way to judge anything. Because I feel like famously, usually some of the worst episodes of any show are going to be the first one and the last one.
Yeah. Especially in these
So.
long-running TV series where they go on for much long past their prime.
Yeah.
So
And
we're
who
skipping
needs
the
to watch-
prime and we're just getting the crust.
Yeah, exactly. And like, really, I think if any show goes on for more than like 10 seasons, it's just a lost cause. So we should only care about the first and the last episode.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
it's
clearly
like
that's
making
all
a
that
sandwich out of
matters.
your favorite pieces of bread, the two ends.
Just a bread sandwich.
Yeah. Full crust.
Yeah, and of course, we decided to start the series with a beloved show that ran for 15 seasons that neither of us ever gave a fuck about.
Nope.
Supernatural.
Yeah. Supernatural started in 2005, ran all the way to 2020. And
People are gonna
we've seen
fucking
2
hate us.
episodes.
People are gonna fucking hate us for this.
I hope so.
So, what's your, like, do you have any previous experience with Supernatural? Have you ever seen an episode before?
So I remember watching a couple episodes back when it first came out, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Maybe I'll watch it again. Never watched it again. I think I literally
Yeah.
watched maybe 2 episodes. And it wasn't the pilot, because I did not remember this at all.
I remember watching the pilot the first time it came on TV because my dad used to watch Smallville, and I believe it came on after Smallville,
Yeah.
which is another terrible show we should add to the list because that show's fucking crazy. But I remember watching it as like a child and it being like kind of too scary, and then like never watching it again. And it wasn't like, it's not like a scary, especially watching it as an adult. I'm like, oh, this isn't actually scary. I was just a child.
Oh, yeah, no,
Like-
it's goofy as hell.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, it's actually like the tone of the show is insane. And the tonal shift from the first episode
Oh,
to the final episode.
My God.
Like, I get that there's like 15 years in between, but it feels like a completely
You
different
can tell
TV
the
show.
fandom took over and like sunk its claws
Literally.
in because they were pandering to anyone they had left at that point.
Yeah. And I really, from what I had heard about this show, because obviously I don't live under a rock, I've heard a lot about this show in my time on this planet Earth. I really expected like something spectacular. I was really expecting like it to be like gay and like sexy and like, I don't know, interesting.
I was expecting a little more, I don't know, something. Getting into it, like the first episode was so boring.
Oh yeah.
It was so dry.
Oh my God.
Like people
It
always
was-
talk about like, oh, the banter and the witty writing and the chemistry. There was no chemistry between these
Literally
actors in the first episode.
like, girl, what banter, what witty right? Like, I get that it was the first episode, and pilots are famously kind of awkward because usually at the time of filming a pilot, they don't even know if the show is going to get produced as a real show, which I think
Yeah.
this show had that problem. We were discussing when we were watching it.
It was one of like
is in the
50 pilots probably shot at the same time for the CW. They love cranking
Yeah.
out TV shows.
And with this show, in the pilot episode, they introduce Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who is a very famous, well-known actor who has a very illustrious career, as like their dad.
Oh yeah.
And then I think they basically don't really use him much throughout the rest of the series, from what I've been told.
Yeah,
wasn't in the finale.
from what we can gather is that so the entire premise on the first episode is that Dean gets Sam back together to go ghost hunting because they want to go find their dad who is missing. And so that's supposed to be like the most important thing, is that they're trying to find their dad. They care so much about him. By the time we see the finale,
Well,
they're not even
let's not
mentioning
forget, their mom died when they were children because a demon stuck a bomb in her pussy.
Yes, so the catalyst was when they were children. Their mom got stuck to the ceiling and a demon stuck a bomb in her pussy, so she blew up. And so their father became obsessed with hunting down supernatural things, I guess. But like but the main plot driving thing is that it's not even that they're trying to solve the first mystery in the episode. They're trying to find their dad, who was trying to solve this mystery. So they're just like following the mystery to find their dad.
And but what even is the mystery?
It was like the hitchhiking ghost that's killing people.
Oh, was that related to their dad?
That was the ghost he was hunting down.
But they found the ghost and they solved the mystery. So what the fuck?
Well, because I don't know. The dad moved on. I don't know. Sure, if we watched episode 2, they would go over it.
Maybe.
But so like that's like a main driving force in like the first part of the plot, is like they're trying to find their dad. Cut to the series finale. They don't mention their dad once.
No.
Instead, there's substitute dad, who's more important.
The premiere pilot episode, it felt to me like they're setting up like a classic supernatural ghost hunting mystery situation.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like a show where each episode we have like a new ghost to hunt or something, which was very popular. Like, I feel like that was really popularized by like, I guess like the X-Files and like those kinds of shows.
Mm-hmm.
But like they wanted to make the X-Files where the main characters are like two really homoerotic brothers that are constantly vaguely relating in a way that seems not brotherly. I'm gonna be honest, I really thought they were gonna kiss like multiple times. Am I wrong?
They love to frame them very close together. And I don't know if that's like a budgetary issue, like they just don't have a lot of space, or if well, it's like if they only got like 1 or 2 cameras, they have to have the actors real close. Or if it's like intentionally like being we're trying to get them in close proximity to like build some sort of tension physically between them.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but it was like, but I will say, so when the show started, it was pre Game of Thrones, so incest wasn't cool yet.
No.
So maybe that's why they were like teetering on it. And also pre Riverdale, another show that really jumped on the incest train.
Well, my theory is that the show started out in its conception as probably way more homo. And then like because of the CW, especially at the time, it's like you got to water that down. Now they're brothers. Now they're, you know,
maybe
now you got to insert girlfriends into the situation.
I will say what I know about the show is that there is a character who people say is gay, and his name is Castiel, and I think he's like an angel or something. And he's like in love with Dean. So I'm gonna assume they have like really spicy, nasty, raunchy gay sex between episode 1 and the finale.
Yeah, that's the only thing to assume. But based on the episodes we actually saw, this show, I don't know why people would see that pilot and want to watch another episode. It was
same.
Starting at the beginning, it was very, I mean, it was color by numbers. It was very predictable. It was so dry. There were so many scenes where they're just doing nothing and it's like dragging on. They're interviewing people who know
There's
about
a library research scene. Very important in the early 2000s.
But it's like there's no spice, there's no excitement for the most part. I mean, I guess the most exciting part is where Sam gets assaulted by a ghost and Dean
Yeah.
shoots the ghost a bunch, and then they drive the car into the house.
It's also like the worst CGI.
Oh
Some
my
of the
God.
craziest special effects I've ever seen utilized in a television series.
When her pissing ghost children drag the ghost to hell.
Yeah, the pissing ghost children were so much. Why were they so wet? Oh, because
She drowned them in the bathtub.
Right. So here's the other thing. There's this insane scene. So just for context, so the main mystery of the first episode is that there's like this hitchhiking ghost who she gets in your car and she tries to fuck you, and if she successfully fucks you, she then kills you.
She specifically wants you to like cheat on your girlfriend with her, because she also has like this strange thing about infidelity, because her husband cheated on her, which made her upset, so she killed her children and parked herself off the bridge.
Not action parked herself. Oh my god. Anyway, am I freezing?
Your video stuttering. Your audio's fine. But it's like only occasionally. It's not a big deal.
Okay, well, it's not important. This is a podcast anyway.
Yeah.
This is an auditory medium.
Yeah, get into it.
Okay, except it's freezing like a lot. But anyway, that's beside the point. So the moral of the story with this ghost situation is that they find out this backstory on this woman through a library research scene. And then Sam makes the insane decision to find her still living husband and confront him and be like, hey, you remember your wife who murdered your children and then unalived herself? Well, she's a ghost and she's fucking and killing people on the highway. And he thought this was gonna like somehow lead to like a new discovery. Like he thought this was gonna go somewhere.
I don't know what new information that brought about.
Also, imagine you are minding your own business at work and somebody comes to you and tells you that your dead wife and kids from like 30 years ago are like ghosts that are terrorizing the people of the town. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Also, like, what she loves to do is like, first of all, the initial theory about the ghost is that you have to pick her up on the road. Like, you have to stop, invite her into your car, and then she asks for you to drive her home. And then you drive her home. You drive her home, she refuses to go inside because she's ashamed, and then she fucks you and kills you in your car.
Right.
When Sam was just driving down the road, she just ghost clips into his car. He doesn't stop for her, so there are no rules.
Well, then also he's not unfaithful, but then because he's not unfaithful, she basically just like essays him in the car.
Yeah.
To make him unfaithful.
Yeah.
I think the idea is that she's a bad person.
Yeah.
And needs to. But see, okay, so then when Sam drives his car through her house, her ghost children piss down the stairs.
Yeah.
And then they glitch onto her and they drag her to hell.
Yeah, so the solution to the problem is that she doesn't want to go in the house because I guess she's ashamed of killing her children.
I guess. I mean, what's wrong with her?
But the solution is to then ram your car with the ghost woman inside of it into the house, and now you've had to physically put her in the house, and then her children can drag her to hell.
Right.
It's so... It doesn't really seem like any of the research or preparation that they did before confronting the ghost mattered at all.
No, it was really like a fly by the seat of their pants like situation.
Yeah, so it's like
and it
really
just kind
felt
of resolves itself because they kind of got lucky.
It felt like 25 minutes of the show was just like it meant nothing because they used none of that information to help them at all.
Yeah.
And then the situation resolved itself, so they didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I'm assuming the show's probably like that throughout. It's probably a lot of like random ghost stories, lots of like old maiden type of folklore that they're just
different types of creatures.
Yeah.
Because in the
So
finale, we're
that's
dealing
the
with, I
first
guess,
episode.
vampires. They were
Oh,
very
and then
vague.
Sam's girlfriend got like, as you said, got mommed.
Yeah,
Somebody
got
stuck a
mommed.
grenade in her pussy too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that
His
episode
girlfriend
ends.
got the same way that his mom got, which is shocking. And so then that's why he teams up with his brother
Right.
to go do more supernatural hunting, I guess.
I'm assuming we'll eventually find out who's sticking bombs in their pussies. I
But
will
we're not
also
going to
say
find
that,
out.
well, if we had watched it. So since we're not going to find out, I'm just going to assume it was actually their dad.
Yeah.
I think their dad is actually a demon.
I think he made
and
up the story.
Well, but Sam saw it happen to his girlfriend.
I think that's just coincidence.
No, I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a demon from hell, and he's just sticking bombs in random women's pussies. And that's something they're gonna have to deal with at some point. And it happened at some point before the finale, because in the finale he's not a character.
Let's
but it
talk
is
about the finale.
confirmed in the finale that Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character did die and go to heaven at some point throughout the series.
just not Dean's heaven, because Dean doesn't care about him.
Yeah, Dean doesn't give a fuck, clearly. So when we skip to the finale, it's like they're having brotherly shenanigans.
It
The
feels
tone
like
is completely different.
literally the beginning of the episode, I thought it was going to be a musical because of the way it started, and I was
Literally, though.
scared. They start out by doing this whole thing where they like show each other's like routines, their morning routines. It takes for fucking ever. And it's
hot
like
bread,
this
hot bread.
weird, cheery, skippy, like happy-go-lucky, like woo, like
Right.
tone, and it takes forever.
It's so long.
They go through
This-
everything.
I believe this is one of those shows where probably a good like 20 to 30% of every episode is just random filler that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It has to be. For a show like this that has so many episodes, and both of the episodes we watched were so bad, this show
I'm-
has to be mostly filler.
I'm sure there was a prime peak for Supernatural halfway through the season or something, or halfway through the series, where
Well, what
the
I do
writing
know-
was competent and people did find it charming and engaging.
I do know that throughout the series, there's a lot of like heaven and hell like fan fiction. There's lots of like Bible
there's lots
fan
of
fiction.
demons, lots of angels,
Yeah.
lots of.
And I think that part is what a lot of people latched onto, is like the like Dean dies and goes to hell or whatever. Like I think that happens. I don't know. But like I feel like that's the part that a lot of people liked about the show. But there was like zero of that in the 2 episodes that we watched.
No.
So in my headcanon for the show, that's what most of the show is, and that's why people liked it, because that's the only thing I can explain. That and a lot of gay sex between Dean and Castiel.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
So all we get to see is they do their morning routine. They go out to a pie festival.
Yeah.
And they
In
make.
Akron,
I don't know if
Ohio.
these are inside jokes because they're like, I'm Dean and I love pie. I'm going to get me some pie. It's like,
Yeah.
it's really hammed up. Like, while the first episode, the pilot, they were taking things real seriously most of the time. Like, they had a couple
was
of
very
moments
much
where they were
like-
kind of goofy, but like, by the time we get to the series finale, the tone is slapstick comedy.
Yeah, like goofy, campy, but also like not funny.
Not funny.
And I think
No.
that's really important to note, because like I don't know a ton of their work. The only time I've ever seen either of them act outside of the show is in The Boys. What's his
Yeah.
face is in the Dean is in The Boys, and he seems okay. Like he seems like an
Yeah.
okay actor, but is he funny? Like I don't know.
He's trying. The guy that plays Sam, I don't feel like has a funny bone.
No.
He can't deliver anything.
Also, the whole show, and I'm assuming this is just consistent. They both talk like this the whole
Oh,
time.
it gets so
There's no inflection in their voices.
from the
This is
beginning. It was
most insane.
okay. By the series finale, I could not tell the difference between their voices because they were both
No.
talking in the same like. I'm trying really hard to deepen my voice.
Literally, like the most insane like performance of masculinity I have ever heard.
Like if I was not like being shown their faces, I could not tell who was speaking.
No. It was crazy. Like, why are you talking like that? And what's funny is that I think the guy who plays Dean talks a lot like that in The Boys too. And I'm just like, is that just his voice? Like, that can't be.
Well, like I think it
That can't
fits
be how
more
he
for that
talks.
character because like Patriot Boy or whatever his fucking name is, I forget.
Patriot boy.
I forget. I mean, like
don't
he's supposed to be
remember.
like super
He's like Captain
performative
America.
masculinity, like toxic.
Yeah.
Like it fits for that character.
Yeah, but in this, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It was just insane. And every time they talked, I was like, why are they talking like that? It feels crazy. It feels like they're pretending to be like they're trying so hard to be cool, but they're in a show that's very uncool.
Well, it very much reads like they're definitely way older than they were when they started the show, and they're still trying to be a cool like 23-year-old or whatever.
True.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
the entire first part of the finale is literally just mirroring the pilot, where they're just doing like a basic like, hey, we're getting reports that are vampires? I think they're vampires.
I don't know. I
Because
don't
they were talking about
remember.
draining them dry of like blood. So I'm assuming, and they did mention vampires.
They mentioned vampires and mimes and vampire mimes. It was
Yeah,
hard
well,
to
I
tell
think
what was a
mimes, they
joke.
were just going off of like the mask, like the weird, like kind of clown mask they were wearing. The cheap
Yeah, but
Halloween
also,
clown
like,
mask.
what what was the like I didn't understand what the conclusion was of what these creatures were in the end. I think
think
if
they're
we
vampires.
watched the show, we were supposed to know what this is. All I know is that whatever was wrong with these people, their heads just popped off like
Yeah.
Lego people. Like literally, like if you
They're
just
not well put
like if
together.
you hold a butter knife to one of their throats, their head will just pop off.
Yeah, because they
Are vampires?
so
like
they're, stealing,
what?
they're stealing children, and we are told that they steal children so that they can grow them up and juice them.
Yeah, whatever that means.
I guess it doesn't really matter because they do their little research thing again. They're on their computers in their library and they're doing research and they're looking at maps on their car, circling things, and they just
Yeah.
go to a random house that's currently about to be attacked.
Yeah,
And they get
because the
one.
profile is like people in town that have kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I know exactly what one person that will be," which is fucking crazy because even if you're in fucking Akron, Ohio, there's got to be like thousands of people that fit the demographic.
But anyways, they torture the guy in a funny torture scene, I guess. It was, once again, it was like they were trying really hard to be like goofy and funny.
Yeah, it wasn't funny ever. Nothing was funny. I never laughed.
No.
I wanted so hard to be amused by this beloved show that people watched for 15 seasons.
So it's like they confront they confront the big villain lair, which is just a barn,
Right.
and they fight a bunch of vampires.
Why did they all live in a barn? What was that about?
I don't know. I guess it was like the only cheap set they had on hand.
There was also only 4 more vampires. So they killed 2 of them. And then there was 4 more in the barn. And then there was a secret surprise vampire that was a character from a previous episode
Oh,
that we had
right.
no context for.
Donna, I think. I don't know. Was it Donna?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. They all act gagged. Like it was a big reveal. It's like, oh my god, what a throwback. Doesn't matter.
And then she died instantly. So
Yeah, she dies. They kill vampires, and then Dean gets backed up against a small piece of metal on a column,
Right.
and it's supposed to be really dramatic. And of course he's hamming it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And they have this like long, like I still can't get over this character has probably died multiple times.
He has.
He's
I can
been
confirm that.
beaten up and stabbed and probably shot and probably like he's probably had all sorts of things done to him over the last like what 15 years.
Yeah, I know for a fact he has died at least once and gone to hell, and then he was brought back to life. How did that work? I couldn't fucking tell
After
you.
all that, being backed up into a piece of metal sticking out of a wall, and that's what's doing him in finally.
Right. Like, how fucking pathetic.
It was
Also,
really stupid.
the craziest part is that it's like, it's such a, like, insane way to die because it's like he gets impaled on this, like, small piece of metal that we, like, can't even see. So it's not that big. And then he just, like, instantly assumes he's going to die.
Yeah, he's not.
And then they have this
seeking out
dramatic... No, nobody
They're not
calls
even
for help.
trying.
Not
He's
at
also
all. They
dying
don't use their
standing
fucking...
up, which is a very awkward way to do a death portrayal.
And then they get so close, like face to face, about to kiss for some reason.
Yeah,
It's so
we know the
homoerotic.
reason. It's a series finale.
Yeah, and then he dies, and then he goes to heaven, and then it's like heaven is different now. What does that mean? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they talk about somebody when they came here, they really shook things up. They really changed things. And the guy talking is they're not dad. That is their dad, basically, because they couldn't afford the real dad.
Right.
So it's just like middle of nowhere, fucking Ohio, and this is Dean's heaven. Is just being in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, and it's sunny.
Just Akron, Ohio, and he has this shitty car.
And he has his car came to heaven, and he's just going to drive.
Yeah. And as he drives, we get the craziest montage I've ever seen of Sam aging.
Oh, so yeah, Dean's driving.
Craziest.
Sam suddenly has a child. He suddenly
He has the
acquired
scariest
a
child I've ever seen.
terrifying child. And there's for a couple of
Truly.
scenes, there's just a woman in the background that you just assume is his wife.
Women don't seem to matter at all in this show.
No.
In the 2 episodes we watched, there were 2 women who barely had names and who died very quickly with very few lines. So
Yeah.
I don't think women are a thing in Supernatural. I think this is a show about dudes being bros.
Yeah. But she's in the background a couple of times when the kid suddenly ages up, but Sam doesn't get any older.
No.
And then the kid grows up again as like a teenager. Sam's still
looks
exactly the same.
Yeah.
My thought process at the time was like, does he have some sort of weird like supernatural power where he doesn't like age? Like what's going on? And then it cuts to him suddenly
The wig.
super gray. Like he has this
The
awful gray
wig.
wig. It's the most. He's wearing glasses. No, like old face makeup. Just glasses
What if-
in a fried gray wig.
Listen, I have seen some terrible wigs.
Oh.
I have watched Mary Hartman. This one, I feel like this is one of the
This
most
is one
atrocious
of the
wigs.
worst wigs I've seen in my
ever
entire
seen.
life.
Like, it's so crazy.
It's one
that
of
they put
the
that on him,
worst wigs.
and then they want us to think that hair is growing out of his head. Like, and also to top it off, they did virtually like no old age makeup.
No.
The tiniest.
they just
bit.
gave him
Like,
glasses and told him to go.
Literally, it's just like the worst aging up I've ever seen of a character in any TV show, movie, anything.
No, it's a crime.
Horrendous.
It's a crime, and it gets worse because he suddenly is on his deathbed,
Right.
and his son is there, and he has the little like hunter tattoo, I think is what it is. They don't go over it in the pilot. I just know about it from Tumblr, but he has the tattoo like on his arm, and so I think so he's like going to be like continuing the legacy,
I guess.
and he's just. The mom's nowhere to be found in these 2 scenes of him being old. So she's probably already
Yeah.
dead. I don't know.
I mean, who could say? Because when they get to heaven, he certainly doesn't seem to care about anyone
Nope.
but his gay lover brother.
because either she's alive and doesn't care that he's dying, or
Yeah.
she's already maybe her pussy already got blown up by a demon.
Maybe she went to hell.
Maybe she went to hell. Maybe she did.
What's the what? Okay, so since we don't have any context for this, what do you think the criteria is in this world for going to heaven or hell? Because I feel like Dean and Sam, from what we saw, are not the best people. They lie. They like thieve. They do counterfeiting.
They do scams,
They commit
yeah.
a lot of like sins.
My only thought is that they made a deal with God.
They Kate Bushed it.
They scammed God. Yeah, they conned God.
Okay, yeah, that tracks. You know what? I'll accept that.
But yeah, like we get this emotional scene of Sam dying on his deathbed in his bad wig. Very and then he appears in Dean's heaven. Where Dean's just been driving around nonstop.
For like 50 years, I
Yeah.
guess.
And they're finally together in the afterlife so they can spend eternity together, I guess.
So they can have, and now they're not biologically related anymore. Because
they're
now
not
ghosts
bound
in
by the
heaven.
laws of flesh and like mortality and men.
So they can fuck now.
yeah.
They're gay incest heaven.
That's I mean, like that's the only conclusion I can come to, because out of everybody you could spend your afterlife with in heaven for the rest of your life, most people would choose like a partner or a spouse or
Yeah.
something like that. They don't care about anyone else in their afterlife other than
No.
each other.
Yeah. Also, didn't like Dean like fall in love with an angel or something?
Yeah,
Like, where's that guy?
that Castiel. I don't know. Maybe he was a demon. Was he an angel? Was he a demon? Did he
I
go to
don't
hell?
know.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm not gonna find
Maybe they
out.
had a messy breakup.
Probably. I think he. Well, they talked about sacrifice, so I think he sacrificed himself.
Oh.
I think that's what happened. I mean, they talked about sacrifice over pie for a second, and moved on.
I feel like there's something so existentially horrifying about this type of like heaven concept that they work with in this show. I don't know if that's intentional, but it's like, to me that sounds like a nightmare, to be like driving around Akron,
stuck
Ohio.
in an abandoned like you're just stuck in the rural middle of nowhere, driving around endlessly for all eternity alone. Like that sounds terrible.
Do you think they have like ghost cities? Like there's like a
I
ghost.
don't know. He
New
never
York and you
reaches
can go
any sort of
there.
civilization. And
But
his like
maybe it's
his
by
like ghost
choice.
his like ghost dad is just like hanging out at that corner store
Right.
forever, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this world.
I kind of wish they had gone to hell. I would have liked to see.
I think it would have
hell.
been gaggier.
Yeah, I think that's more fun.
I think one of them should have gone to heaven and one of them should have gone to hell.
And then they can never have their gay brother sex again.
No.
That would be tragic.
So
Well. Oh, and then it ends with them just talking directly to the camera.
oh yeah, they do this like addressing the fans moment where they just like
so jarring.
it's like an
it's
awful
it's
way
the-
to end a series.
Literally, the exact moment in Cats the Musical when Judi Dench looks directly down the barrel
God.
of the camera and sings to you how to address a cat. It was very that.
I think if you're gonna do something like that, we're like, hey, it's the series finale, and we really want to thank our fans that have been supporting us by making gifts on Tumblr for years. I think what you should do is at the beginning of the episode do that. At the very beginning.
Do you think so?
I think so. I think at the very beginning you should be like, hey, this has been a wild ride. Thank y'all for all your support and all the weird gifts you've given us and for stalking us for, a decade.
Yeah. And for reading us
This is the
weird
final
gay
episode. This is for
fanfiction.
y'all. We hope you like it. All right, on with the show. And then you can end it where the series is supposed to end instead of having an ending and then it suddenly fades from black back up, and they're just like, hey y'all, we're at that same place from the series finale, and now we're just talking straight to you. It feels so weird.
I just don't think it's necessary at
No,
all.
I think it's stupid.
Just do a bonus credit thing or something for the DVD box set. Like, we don't need all that in
It doesn't
the
need to be
episode.
part of
It's
the
just
actual
freaky.
episode, yeah.
And especially because they do it like still in costume on the set.
Literally,
Where
on
they
the
were
set,
just filming the final scene.
they may as well have not faded to black at all and just turned to the camera and just started rambling.
Literally. That's what it felt like. That's literally what it felt like. It was so uncomfortable.
I don't know.
So-
From the 2 episodes we saw, the show looks like shit.
Yeah.
The
How
special
would
effects are
you-
bad, the acting is bad, the writing is bad, the story is bad, the characters are non-existent.
How would you fix Supernatural?
Well, for the pilot, I would just would have inserted more excitement throughout the first half of the episode. Like,
Maybe more like characters that matter.
there needed to be
I
more
think
characters. There needed to be more stakes. Maybe there needed to
there's
be.
just something about like a 45-minute long episode of a TV show where there's only 2 main characters is just crazy.
And they don't even
to
like
me,
they don't
that's
even
crazy.
talk that much to each other or anything.
No,
Like they don't
and
really
they also-
talk about what
they're
they
not
want
really-
and what they're scared of. Nothing.
And they're not really very like distinct from one another.
No, they're both very stoic. Dean occasionally will make like a quippy little like line or like something like that, but it's not very apparent at that point.
It's also not funny.
No.
It's like he's telling jokes that it's literally giving like the comedy challenge on Drag Race when like they
Yeah.
have to write their own jokes and none of them are funny and they're not comedians, so nothing lands, and then you really wonder like, why does RuPaul do this to them? Does he just like making them suffer? Like, it's that.
The other major thing I just think that the episode needed was that the conclusion to the problem with the ghost lady, even though it could be like a fly by the seat of my pants kind of deal, they needed to actually have anything that they learned going up to that point about her to matter. Like they
Yeah.
needed to actually do something actively that like actually solves the problem.
Yeah. I would say similarly with the vampires in the final episode.
Yeah.
It really just felt like there's vampires. Great. And then we killed them.
I think
except
they
then
should
Dean
have just
died.
both died together. I don't know why their splitting of their deaths was really that important.
I wonder if they were considering doing like a spin-off about Sam's son.
I think that's what they were trying to establish, because like why else would they even care?
Yeah, but like who wants to see more of that? Like he seemed so lame.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Really weird. Strange choices. Really bizarre. Lots of bizarre choices in this show. I think it should have been, one, there should have been some women.
Yeah.
It's like this, in the 2 episodes we watched, it did not pass the Bechdel test. It's truly just a show about 2 dudes being bros, and then women die occasionally to further their plots. So that's fun, I guess. And then also, I would have just had more, like there just should have been more main characters. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like 2 main characters is not enough to carry a show that is this long. Like the episodes felt like so much filler. And it's like,
Yeah.
when I think of other shows of this like nature, like Riverdale, for instance, it's like Riverdale has like 5 million main characters. Like the main cast of characters is like 6 or 7 characters. And then they've got a bunch of extra characters. And that's how they fill a 45-minute episode. Like, I don't understand how they carried. I'm sure they added characters and they came and went, but like clearly the 2 brothers were the only important characters because they're the only ones we talk about in the first episode and the last episode.
Yeah, they're the only characters that are there at the beginning and at the very end. So
Yeah. So what the fuck?
literally the final episode of Supernatural really just felt like a tacked on, like, I don't know, it felt like we actually missed all of the real finale and we're just
We
watching
must
a
have.
bonus episode.
They probably did like the climax of the series like a couple episodes prior. It
Yeah.
probably like tied everything together or something. And then they were just like, let's do a fun little quirky episode where Dean dies.
Yeah, they're like, oh,
You know
one
what it
more
was
adventure,
giving?
except for now I guess we're gonna kill him.
Right. It was giving 6 Feet Under, but like in a bad way. And I know you haven't seen 6 Feet Under yet. Like we are gonna have to watch 6 Feet Under. We're gonna have to do this 6 Feet Under because I genuinely believe they were just trying to copy the finale of 6 Feet Under, but it didn't make sense because 6 Feet Under's finale made sense because it's a show about death.
Yeah.
So watching all of the main characters die, spoiler alert, everyone dies in 6 Feet Under. It's a show about death though. And it was like a brilliant finale. We'll get into it in another episode.
I think the way I would fix the finale is that I don't know what happened in the episodes leading up to it. I think Dean should have died then. Whatever happened, whatever big thing happened, Dean should have died, leaving Sam all alone. And so he's supposed to carry the finale where he goes, okay, well, Dean's dead. I need to, I'm going to try to go on another adventure alone. That fails miserably. He barely survives going up against the vampires. He feels really defeated. He starts growing old. He starts trying to get his life back together. And then he dies and he finally gets to join Dean. I think it would have been more emotional watching an episode where he's like trying to fumble around doing things on his own and he's like, incapable without his brother or whatever. I think it could have been more interesting than what happened.
What if after Dean died, Sam just action parked himself?
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
I think so.
I don't know if the fandom would have liked that. I'm not sure.
Who cares?
Okay, so this is more of a general question about like Christianity and like heaven, but it's like, if heaven's so great, why don't we all just action park ourselves? Like, that's what I've never understood about
the question.
Christianity.
Which is why they had to create the caveat. They're like, hey, if you do that, you actually go to hell. You can't skip the line.
It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's never made any sense to me. Because, like, yo, what the fuck?
It's never made sense to me.
Well, anyway. Would you watch the rest of Supernatural?
No. This was awful.
You wouldn't even watch, like, so if somebody selected, like, oh, these are the best episodes,
I would watch them? I would watch a select couple episodes, but like what we watched, I do not care enough to like be like, oh, now I want to watch all 15 seasons of that show. I was so enthralled.
Yeah, not at all. No, I don't even know. I mean, I might. When we were watching it with our watch party, by the way, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you can join us and watch these videos live. When we were watching with the watch party, the people in chat who had seen the show wanted us to watch specific episodes, and we refused because that's not the point of the series.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if maybe if we watch some of these like specific episodes that people
maybe we could be charmed if we saw like the really good stuff.
Maybe we would understand how this show lasted almost 2 decades. Because that's crazy. That is a long time to have a shitty TV show run for. But, I mean, I guess that's it. I don't really have many more feelings about this show. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Not really. I think we covered everything. It was
all right, well,
kind of a miserable experience.
Well, if you guys have a show that you want us to watch, list it in the comments below. We're compiling a list for this series. There's a lot of shows that I want to watch.
Oh, we have a list already. We have like
It's a long
50 shows
list.
at least.
Yeah, let us know if you like this, if you want more of this, and if there's any specific shows you want us to just watch the first and last episodes of and make our entire judgment based on that.
Yeah.
Okay, work.
So if you are interested in seeing us actually watch it live, we watch things every weekend with our patron members. So you can find that link down below if you're interested in supporting. And who knows what we're going to be watching next week? I don't know yet.
No, we never do. We're terrible at planning. Work boots, Mama Diva Slay. Clocking the tea.
Clocking that tea.
Spilling the house down.
Work.
Okay, bye.
Bye.